The systemic problems in Cincinnati are no different than the systemic problems all over our nation. People working full-time and not making living wages. We have people going to jail for minor crimes for long periods of time. We have all kinds of problems happening in the city and this country that are contributing to an underlying problem, and that's that everything is unequal.
AMOS is a collection of over 50 congregations who have come together to work for racial and economic justice in our community. And our focus is on the structures and systems, and really addressing those. It's figuring out, why are people poor and what can we do to change that? Why are African Americans disproportionately poor in our community? What can we do to change that? What does God have to say to this, and how do we embody that as God's people?
You know, sometimes when you know about an injustice that's going on in society, sometimes it feels too big, and it feels like the way that you feel can't really have an impact on it. With AMOS, what it does is it magnifies our individual voices so that we as people of God have an influence on what's going on in our city and bringing improvements to the lives of people all over Cincinnati.
When we talk about social justice, we're talking about reshaping the structures of power so that God's love disseminates fluidly through these structures, through these economic, cultural, social structures, political structures that often define our relationships.
It's often said that you can tell the values of a family or an individual or of a community by where they put their resources. If we look at where we put our resources as a city and a county and a country, it looks like we don't value children very much. Being prophetic voices for justice on behalf of kids for us right now looks like working for quality, excellent preschool for every child in our community. AMOS is here to say we value children, and we expect our city and our county and our state to value children as well.
As we look at the disparities in education, what has been discovered is if a child is not at a certain level by 3rd grade, it's really crazy how they just line them up, and there is a pipeline from school to prison.
The children who are not going to preschool is not because their parents don't care about them. It's because our community has created a system where they cannot afford this.
Without education, they really, have no opportunity. And I believe that every person should have the same opportunity.
At the end of the day, am I my brother's keeper? Am I my sister's keeper? Do I just want issues solved for myself and for my family? Or do I want an entire city of youth, of children who are prepared and who are contributing to our society and making our entire city, our entire state better?
I think the biggest challenge to this kind of change in our society is that for many of us, we don't know that it's like this. And we have a hard time believing it. I think we need data, and we need to know people whose lives are affected by these things so that we can relationally come to really understand what life is like for someone who might look different than me.
Your voice alone might sound quiet, but it's still a voice. But next to mine and next to the 1,000 other people who sit at these AMOS meetings, that's strong. That's strong, and it can't be ignored.
The work we do is relevant. It means something, and AMOS is not an organization. We don't just talk, and we don't just march, we get busy. We speak truth to power, and we will not be denied. You must listen to us.